Time for our quarterly check-in of High Elves versus Cathay with Rider Rohan, of course. And you know Rider Rohan is truly channeling his inner hatred when he's going with Bird Techless here, which he has in this particular matchup. Bird Techless does offer quite a bit of upside in that he's a reasonably decent combatant, can certainly tangle with the Shugengun Lord fairly well, and of course has really nice magical abilities as well. Sword of Techless in particular giving him spell mastery and extra power reserves is quite strong. Potion of Choroid to heal himself back up. Flock of Doom's very solid in terms of AoE damage spells right now. Direct damage to multi-model units can be very effective in this matchup, certainly. Net of Ammontok, great utility, of course, and healing. Needs no explanation. And yeah, like I said, fire resistance, decent stats overall, decent armor piercing, his own flaming magical damage. He will get outclassed, obviously, by the dragon siblings, but definitely will be able to compete with the Shugengun Lord no problem. Kind of screen them away. Shugengun did go with Lore of Yang this time around rather than Lore of Yin for the summons, which we know have been a problem in the past. Certainly. Cathay here also has a Sky Lantern, which is kind of the only questionable pick in this build, in my opinion. The rest of it is all pretty solid. We've got Crane Gunners, Iron Hail Gunners, and Peasant Spears with Jade Warriors. Some Jade Lancers for a little bit of cavalry support as well. And now Techless tangling in the woods here is also going to be absorbing some of the damage from the Crane Guns, which will be critical in protecting his own army, which we'll take a look at now. 3 Equal Claw Bolt Throwers, 2 Swordmasters is the only infantry. Reaver Archers, a couple of Silver Helms, and some Ithilmar Chariots as well, a single unit of them. So kind of all very, not necessarily specialist units. We have a few specialist units, but very specialized build, I would say. You can tell that Rider Rohan has honed this in over time, because there's not a lot of fat here. There's just the Swordmasters to blend through armored infantry, which they will be able to. They'll outclass all Cathayan infantry, no problem. And a lot is to kind of support them, of course. You've got the auxiliary Reaver Archers with just generally nice long-range cavalry archers with decent melee stats. A high degree of flexibility is great to kind of pull Cathay apart. And then Techless forward tanking, like I said, these crane guns allows the bolt throwers to get some serious work done, already having dispatched the Lantern and killing off models of the crane guns with their single shots. Even though it is mostly anti-large, just the high individual missile damage is important. Get rid of those models of crane guns, which has been quite effective so far. The Reavers are going to start a little bit of skirmish action, and again, try and pull some of these Cathayan units out of position so that the Swordmasters don't get overwhelmed on an individual basis. Let's see how it goes here. Yeah, the Cathayans approaching very patiently, not wanting to get, like I said, pulled out of position too far, but honestly, a lot of these units are already out of harmony range, so yeah, the missile units kind of being left here, the crane guns getting routed off. It's definitely a problem, but Cathay, of course, their units insanely cost-effective in melee. Ooh, these Righteous Lances of Wei Jin. Vanguard deployed a little forward, or maybe just in the corner. Yeah, they don't even have Vanguard. I just straight up missed them. That's fine. Armor piercing, high charge bonus, they're going to come in to significantly equalize, if not just severely hinder Techless up in the air. It's going to have to burn a Net of Ammontok there to hold them back, and then countercharge in. Might have Heaven and Earth, though, or sorry, might have, yeah, Heaven and Earth on the Dragon-Blooded Shugengun herself is significantly buffing her stats, magical damage to bypass the, I guess, maybe not, though, with the fire resistance. Yeah, that's actually perhaps overall damage nerf. Maybe about the same, I guess, with the weapon strength increase. Hard to say. But Techless certainly is not winning that fight as decisively as you might otherwise expect. Chariots come forward, do a little bit of disruption, but going to get a little bit lost here behind these kind of rocks as the Jade Lancers, rather, charge in, kind of trap them in this little bog here up against these big stones, but it has significantly disrupted the Cathayans' advance. Now the Silver Helms are able to get a nice countercharge in, and the Jade Lancers themselves also taking a surprising amount of damage from the chariots. Yeah, Swordmasters moving in, so very advantageous engagement eventually for Rider Rohan. These Swordmasters also just absolutely karate chopping these Jade Warriors. It's going to be some fancy fighting here as the Swordmasters do their thing. These Reaver Archers doing a nice job just kind of skirmishing. Even the cheap Peasant Long Spears, lack of armor and missile block chance means they'll take pretty good damage from them. Techless hard lands in the Silver Helms to protect against the Righteous Lances, who had taken quite a bit of damage, I guess, from focus fire from the Bolt Throwers and the Reaver Archers and whatnot, but Cathay is starting to get through. Jade Lancer does a great job of getting in and shutting down some of the Bolt Throwers, so those get offline. Silver Helms try and respond quickly, can only do so much. Ooh, I see that Lantern lurking in the distance there, perhaps can come back and actually get some value. Probably not, but you'd like to dream. Silver Helms also getting caught a little bit flat-footed there, but just overall, Jade Lancers are pretty overextended, so they will probably lose, but Techless also is probably going to lose here as he gets rear-charged by the shooting gun. Jade Shield on herself. Give herself some damage resistance. Techless, ooh, he's trying to pop the regrowth. Doesn't get it off in time to save himself from routing, but will probably survive this. We'll see. Yeah, maybe not. Might just get routed off by the shooting gun, which is very unfortunate. Almost able to win that fight, but not quite. Still, though, let's get back to the Swordmasters in action as they continue to chop through. They got through a lot of the infantry, are trying to get now at these missile units, which is causing some problems. Iron Hails not much of a factor early on in the battlefield, but now are going to be quite dangerous for the Swordmasters out in open space like this, especially in multiples, with crane guns kind of overlapping. So, see the chariots there being used to help pursue, keep those missiles off Swordmasters as long as possible. But looks like got Bolt Throwers getting back online as well. Some crews managed to survive. Cathay and Jade Lancers coming back, though. Silver Helms coming to intercept. Trying to, at least, but do get their attack order interrupted. Aren't going to be able to quite prevent full impact, but lots of cavalry action. Rider Rohan living up to his name on this particular battle. Reaver Archers, having used up most of their ammo, are going to be great out in space, helping out the Swordmasters, getting these tattered missile units cleaned up, and just generally providing some stability. What happened to Techless? He got chased off the side of the battlefield, no doubt. We see the Righteous Lances and the Shooting Gun Lord also just kind of chilling here. So it's going to be quite the finish. I mean, basically dead even on balance of power right now. Both players have quite a bit going for them. Shooting Gun Lord and the Jade Warriors and everything. Quite a strong presence here. The Righteous Lances are probably done for, but interesting to see the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower crew just kind of fleeing towards the Silver Helms. Probably be able to get some protection. Silver Helms and Reavers out here, though, cleaning up what's left. Swordmasters even chasing down some Iron Hail Gunners. It's an absolutely nightmarish situation if you are Iron Hail Gunner. At least you'll know your death will be relatively clean and quick. Just a quick decapitation and move on. Right? It's gotta be it. It's certainly better than getting chased down by like a Slanesh unit, right? Where you know you're just gonna die a horrifically painful, horrible death. Silver linings, you know, silver linings. And Silver Helms, too, as well. Helping to beat down this Peasant Long Spear, so Rider Rohan is actually in a pretty advantageous position in the fact that he has a decisive mobility advantage and quite a few relatively healthy cavalry units left, and in particular the cavalry supporting the Swordmasters means that these regrouped missile units are not going to be a non-factor whatsoever. They're just going to get chased down by Reavers. Silver Helm's getting a nice charge in. Not the most impactful, but certainly it's enough. Armored shock cavalry. Always going to be good. Well, not always, but generally it's a unit type that does perform very well, especially in the mid-tier right now. Silver Helms in this particular battle have been just insanely cost-effective, but certainly breaking up the Cathayans, allowing the Swordmasters to then move in and get their quick cleanups. Oh yeah, absolutely beautiful. We got this random Ithlamar chariot just parked in here as well. This is peak Warhammer action, to be honest. I did miss it when I was on my honeymoon. Had a lot of fun. And thank you all for giving me so many kind words. Had a lot of congratulations and kind comments. And you guys are just amazing. But this is also amazing. I gotta stop to appreciate sometimes, even despite everything in the kind of Total War sphere right now, which I haven't really talked about too much. Obviously, Pharaoh, I didn't cover on this channel, and there's a reason why. I generally don't cover things that I don't think I'll enjoy, and I really didn't play Pharaoh at all. Just, I mean, it seems well made, all things considered, but it just isn't my cup of tea. I don't know. Troy I did play a bit, but Troy never really captured me either, and even Three Kingdoms, to a degree, failed to capture me in the same way that most Total War games throughout my life have. So that's why I didn't play it. Not necessarily a statement on the game's quality, although I do think a lot of people might share that sentiment of just not really being particularly interested in the time or setting, at least at this particular time. But anyway, this last unit of Jade Warriors here, just going to feel the wrath of the riders as the cavalry all charge in. Swordmasters getting their mad cleanup. And the Righteous Lances charging in on the flank here. Yeah, even the Shugengan Lord, obviously, against the Swordmasters is just going to struggle because their stats are so high. Absolutely high. Not their weapon strength, but attack and defense, which is fighting against a Lord are particularly important. Let's see, we've got some kind of Might of Heaven and Earth here on these Jade Warriors. Very interesting, even as their leadership is about to give out. It's something, but the AoE damage spell here that was brought, Dragon's Breath, lacking an armor-piercing component, really isn't going to be particularly helpful against Swordmasters. Yeah, I don't know. Lore of Yang's okay, but it's probably the weaker of the two right now, I would say, just given the strength of the summons. Of course, Teclis having the magic damage, we didn't really see get used a ton. There was maybe a couple rogue flocks of doom here or there. But would have been helpful in at least helping to contain, you know, Flock of Doom, Net, just kind of contain the summons at least. Or, yeah, it's interesting. I would be curious to see this with a dragon sibling as well. Maybe just insanely buffed Zhao, I think. Did they actually fix his bracers in one of the recent hotfixes while I was gone? I'd have to double check that, but anyway. Swordmasters and Cav on their final cleanup here. Cathayans forming into a brave little square that immediately just gets turned into a sweet, sweet sandwich. Sweet sandwich. So, like, 2 pieces of French toast. Well, that'd be more Bretonian. Anyway. Food puns aside. It's definitely a fun one. It's big thanks to Ryder Rohan for sending that one in. Beautiful performance from the Swordmasters and their supporting units. Also, the Silverhelm's doing a great job. Valyrian Reaver's also doing a nice job. Just really cost-effective across the board, to be honest. Just nice to see for High Elves. The Teclis also, I guess, managed to get 3,379 value. A lot of that is from fighting characters, obviously, and from doing damage to the Righteous Lances, but I guess maybe more AoE damage than I thought with those Flocks of Doom. But certainly an impressive performance. On Cathay's side, yeah, the Sky Lantern, I feel like if you just brought an extra, like, cannon or other long-range unit, that would make this build make a lot more sense, or even cut it and take some light cavalry. Just kind of help support on the flanks and protect those missile units a little bit more. Maybe make some attack runs on those bolt throwers a little bit earlier. But anyway, definitely an interesting battle, interesting matchup. Hopefully, guys enjoyed watching that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.